I should really put that on our website. Performing public disservice since 2000, whatever it is.
I think it's more active than a disservice. I'm not sure what words you would actually use for it. Disservice just sounds so mild. You need something a little stronger, a little more point on.
I'll have to cogitate on that one. I will have to think about that. But I like that. Providing menace, disturbance, whatever we want to come up with. Distraction. Maybe that'll work.
Subverting your expectations in the worst possible way since...
Oh, actually, intellectual subversion and societal distraction.
You should be writing instead of listening to this show is basically what we should put up there.
I mean... Could.
I speak truth to something or other. I don't know. We've only wasted a minute of time. Chat, we're not inventing religions, okay? I know that Xander is now the Lord and Savior for taking the booty kick earlier, but this is getting really kind of scary. The Holy Gospel of Xander will go out among the masses.
He can't be the prophet of the boot or the prophet of the booty. I think that's Antoine. If we're going,
there's
that's how religious wars start, booty. Right there.
Oh, so wait, within 30 seconds you created a religion to end factions?
And the boots came upon the booties, and there was
declarations of heresy begin.
Okay, Rooster, it's time for you to write this. Go ahead.
One joined the booties of kicking, the other grabbed the Ben hammer, and the war began.
Well, this is a hell of a way to start a Saturday off.
Look down there in the chat, boy.
I like this one. Amongst our weaponry are such diverse elements as fear, surprise, ruthless efficiency, and almost fanatical devotion to the Pope and nice red uniforms. Already, a schism has begun, yes. Okay, Rick, the fact that you said that you told Terry he's right about something automatically disqualifies you from being right about anything, including that statement. Just saying.
I hear this buzzing in my ears. Where's that mute button for Paul? Let me find that.
I don't know. The buzzing's probably the purring mound behind your head.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Might have something to do with the furball behind you.
Sassy says, I don't know about that. Oh, ball, ball, ball. Choo, 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 bite, 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 ball, ball.
May thy presence be blessed by the cheeks. Oh my God. Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley. Joining me today, as always, Veronica Jaguar and Terry, who's getting eaten by his cat, Mixon.
There is definitely some mauling going on.
I would try and compete with that, but I'm not going to because you're going to compete with it. How the hell are you, V?
Not being mauled by felines at the moment. So yeah, I'm good. I'm gearing up for about 6 weeks of nonstop recording. That's going to be fun. Because we like being booked because we like getting paid.
Getting paid is nice.
Getting paid is good. Let's see. Prepping for Vegas to go to Author Nation. So I finally got my my volunteer assignments. So I get to help as part of the AV club again. Because if I volunteer, I have to go see people. And so I can't hide in my room. I got my table assignment for Industry Day. And I think I've got a pretty choice spot because as you walk into the room where they're having all of the vendors on that Monday, I am the very first audiobook person table that you're going to see, like when you walk in all the way on the right. So
nice.
Yay for that. Other than that, not a whole lot.
You know, yours is almost as boring as mine's going to be. Probably.
Well, I mean,
I worked and did stuff. I lived as a human being. Next.
What?
Wait, you worked? Are you sure about that?
We're going to get to my lack of productivity in a moment. We probably should switch to Mr. Mixon and see if he's got something more to add to this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. Today's my birthday, so I'm now 112.
You are not 112. That would make me 105. We're not doing this again.
Wait. If you're 112, does that make me Frodo and I can finally go on an adventure? Because that would be badass.
You're in. You're in.
Okay.
You're in what?
But that means then we have to like set off fireworks and then you have to run away and then you have to go buy pledges over something.
I could totally do that. I could totally do that. Now today is the big 6-0, so not that it's any different than any other day. I don't get weirded out by how old I am, so that's not going to be any kind of, down drag upon me. I've got maybe an hour's worth of beta comments to go over, and I'm done with the Last Hunter series.
Yay.
So after the show, I'll get that wrapped up, and it'll be off, and the next book will actually come out live tomorrow.
Damn.
That's kick-ass.
They moved it up a week, so I'm not sure how I think about that because it means that it goes out with all of the little tweaks and corrections that the beta team helped me find. So I'm not sure about that because it means that the pre-order people are going to get all the little glitches.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's what it is.
Gives me a week left before Author Nation to go ahead and finish reading the Empire book and get it sent off so that that's done. And that means when I get back from Author Nation, I get to launch into the new series.
Yay!
Boy, that's not intimidating.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Not after 3 years of writing the same series. No, jumping into something brand new, that's not intimidating.
No, it's not intimidating at all, Terry. It's fine. It's fine. Come swim with me in the deep ocean.
You get to play with new characters and new worlds and new ideas. It's exciting.
I'm totally ready to play with the new ideas. It's intimidating when you don't have the setting built out. At least with the series that I'm working in, I've got the setting. I don't know what's going to happen. By the time I'm halfway done with the first book, who knows where they're going to be going, what they're going to be doing.
I hear that. I do. I think that finding a good setting is always the stumbling block. Once you know the place where you're writing, then stuff tends to come together.
Since I'm doing this series as a kind of homage to Indiana Jones and to Mission Impossible set in the Star Wars universe, so to speak, then I can go ahead and go to the Raiders of the Lost Ark and start pulling out villains to use as archetypes.
Oh, God.
What? Why are you going, oh, God?
Oh, God.
What's wrong?
I can't wait to see cultists running around. That should be fun.
Oh, I'm not going to go to the Crystal Skull thing. I refuse to
I wasn't
admit
even talking
that's
about the
an
Crystal Skull. I was talking about the second book, or second movie, the Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, I could have space Nazis, so it's perfectly cool for me to use all the space Nazis and their things. I forget what the French guy's name was. Oh, God.
Belloc.
Yeah, Belloc. He would make a great villain. Somebody in his theme there. Somebody like the main character, but evil. No morals, that kind of thing. Somebody like him would make a great antagonist.
That's not a bad idea.
And you could have lots of Nazis to punch in the face, because who doesn't like punching Nazis in the face?
And then you have to figure out a way to make them melt. That was always great, too.
That could be fun, or kick them so that they stumble into the prop.
That was an awesome scene. You saw it coming 1,000 miles away, but still it was an awesome scene. It's fantastic because people complain about the Crystal Skulls, but would totally complain about the Temple of Doom if it came out today. You could not do that movie today as PG. You couldn't do it.
No.
You couldn't do it. And you're right, that would be a hell of a dig. Anyway. Anything else?
Birthday, beta, beta. The two female kittens got their fixing and they're released now, obviously, since Bug is running around. That's all good. Little Mr. Man, Mr. Domino, gets to go in a month and get his snipped.
Currently behind my balance board, and at some point I'm going to tilt the wrong way and you're going to hear a hiss. Currently behind me right there is Rogue, who's completely asleep, but whose tail keeps moving around almost beneath my balance board. So I have a feeling bad things are going to happen at some point because I'll forget about it. It will not be fun. Oops. I guess it's my turn. What have I been doing? I have been trying to rest my voice. It's a little bit better. I think my COPD meds are causing the problem. So that's an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, hoarseness and all that's a side effect. So I got to look into that and see if there's a way to mitigate that. Been recording Evolution in Medusa Zone. Did some more work on the websites, posted stuff, got podcasts out, and wrote about 5,000 words on the denouement for Extinction. And I think I've got another 4 or 5 to go, maybe?
Okay.
Which will push the book somewhere in the, around the 150 range, I think, total. And that's before I decide whether or not I'm going to add additional scenes. So, I don't know. We'll find out just how long it's going to be. I don't know yet. I got to go through Oceania and get it ready for the editor. Just do one more run through of it, and I think we'll probably be good to send it off to the editor. But I don't know when the hell we'll get it published, and I don't know when I can afford an editor, but that will be coming. That's the next plan. Next piece I got to deal with. And then maybe I can go back to working on another book, which would make me extremely happy. For some reason, the Derelict Saga characters are calling to me. It's a bad thing. Bad thing.
Yeah, there is something really obnoxious about writing one thing and then having other characters go, "Hey, remember this? Remember this? We need to chat." And I'm like, "No."
Yeah, I heard Black speaking in my head, and I was like, will you shut the fuck up? I haven't even figured out the second book yet, and you're in the third. Hesh! Where the next Black YouTube, Paul? I think I posted it yesterday in the afternoon. I thought I had posted it, but I posted it privately so y'all couldn't see it, even though it was there at 6 in the morning, because I'm a doofus. So there you go. Rapidly approaching Sanderson range. Dude, I'm not even getting close to touching Sanderson range. You're thinking more on the order of like 1 million words in a book. That's not happening. Not ever. Not ever. I have a question for you, Terry.
I have an answer.
You have an answer. Have you ever gotten a comment from a beta reader you just kind of look at and you go, the fuck? Or you look at it and you slap your forehead and go, why didn't I think of that?
I have gotten comments that they tell me where I've gone wrong and how they hate something that I've done. That's not my favorite.
That doesn't seem very constructive.
It's not very constructive.
It's funny, I will get occasionally suggestions from someone, you should put in your next book. It's like, oh, fuck. Or, here's how I would have done that scene. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, then maybe you should have written your own book. But like with beta readers, kind of run the gamut between getting useful information and occasionally getting, wow, you really didn't read this chapter very well because you missed something. Even though I can see it there in the text, smiling at me, you missed it. And now no wonder you were confused. And it's you're always going to have different value of opinions or reviews and comments and criticisms from folks, and you just basically have to figure out a way to weigh them as such, whether or not they matter at all, to, hey, maybe there's something fundamentally wrong here. Which is always possible, especially during, when you're going out of beta, you may have completely missed something that, plot hole that's large enough for a planet to move through. You may be missing something that fundamental because you can't see the forest for the trees. So, I mean, I'm not saying beta readers are bad. Quite the opposite. I love my beta readers when they do their jobs. Slackers.
So what are their jobs?
I have a list of things, and now I feel ambushed because I would have to go look it up. I have a list of things that I put at the front of the beta version. It says basically, look for these things. And if you have questions, ask. If something doesn't make sense, say something. If something doesn't seem realistic, say something. If I've fucked up a character name somewhere and it's not consistent, tell me about it. It's just simple things like that. And sometimes all I get back are, oh, you misspelled this word, or is this what you meant to say? Or, hey, this is the British spelling, not the American spelling. I hate the word gray because it always looks wrong to me when it's Gray. It just looks wrong. It always will.
Same.
It's kind of sad. Yeah. Anyway, so when I get useful feedback from them going through that, then it's gold. It's absolute gold. I got one on Oceania from somebody who looked at my scuba diving stuff and said, this isn't quite up to snuff. You need to change the following things. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I need to hear. That's the kind of shit that will just totally derail a book for some people. So if I haven't done it right, tell me. Tell me, please. So getting that kind of feedback is, I think, extremely important because it does make the story better. You can find some pieces that maybe you have missed. You'll always get a few comments here and there where you're just kind of like, yeah, no. Just like a publisher may suggest you rewrite a sentence, and the way they've rewritten the sentence, there's no fucking way in God you would put it that way. Or they may try and change a word or two, and it ends up being easier to just rewrite the sentence. So going through those comments and looking at it shouldn't be an ego-shattering thing. It shouldn't be something that hurts your self-worth or question your ability as an artist. You should just basically take them, in my humble estimation, you should take them for what they are and see if they actually make sense and if they help. And if they don't, ignore them and move on. If they do, thank them very much and make the appropriate changes and move on.
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's big comments.
Yeah, but you set yourself up by having a structure and specifically asking people what to look for, and if they find this, here's what I need to know to correct it. Mm-hmm. So you're setting up those rails to help them give you constructive criticism, because that's what we need from beta readers is constructive criticism. Well, this sucked. Great. Thanks. So does your face. But it doesn't help.
I totally needed to use that. Man.
You should. I give you permission. But it's one of those things that, like, I've been asked, oh, will you beta read this? And my first question is always, what are you looking for? Because I know that with my background, I physically cannot beta read something that has not been, like, edited. So if you haven't put that sucker through a spell checker with some punctuation, mm-hmm. and you haven't gotten that minimum there, like your grammar check, I will be so distracted I cannot give you a good beta read. I'm gonna go, this looks really lazy. And it's gonna totally color the feedback that I give you. Yeah. Versus if I can settle into the story and the characters, then I can give you the feedback for, like, is there a plot hole big enough to, drive a train through? I can find it that way versus, oh my gosh, you have spelled this one word 6 different ways. Are you using Notepad? Oh my gosh. So yeah, I think if you're using beta readers, giving them those criteria, and then if you are a beta reader, if you don't get criteria, do the author a favor and ask specifically, what kind of feedback are you looking for?
Yeah. I think it's easier. It's just easier for me to put it down and say, this is what I'm looking for. And it depends on which book, right? Because
Oh,
Derelict would have a
absolutely.
different problem domain than, say, the Medusa Zone.
Hmm.
I'm going to want you to look for different things, right? Obviously, between those two, and then there's series continuity, and then look for continuity errors if you've got a series going on. I mean, it just if you provide the structure, you get a lot more bang for the buck, I think. If you don't, then you're kind of like they're all over the place. They're shotgunning. So it just seems over time that the having structure is better. What say you, Terry?
I say it's good. I'm not sure that. I'm hesitant to even tell the beta readers what I'm looking for, honestly, because I like getting general ideas. I don't like to tell them, look at this area because I feel like it's weak. I want them to tell me what they think is what they think it is. Use your hand, V. Do the thing.
I'm trying. I'm
You're
like,
all out of focus.
some days that's an improvement. I mean, honestly. There we go.
There you go.
I don't tell them that this section is weak. It's more on the lines of, these are the things I'm concerned about. They have nothing to do with this section. These are the things I usually miss. Please help me find them. So nothing about the story specifically in that context, I don't think.
So you're saying that you already, like, when you finish a story and it's ready to go to beta readers, kind of your weak points, and you're asking for feedback specifically in those areas.
In some cases.
Yeah, other stuff is helpful, but you often know where stuff might not be finessed the way that you want it to be published. And so it's like, hey, look for this because I'm not so sure about it.
I would ask certain people to do that. If there was a section I was worried about, I would ask specific people about it. I would not. I would not put that out to the betas, because Terry's right in another aspect, which is you don't want to color their experience before they've started reading it.
Okay.
One way or the other. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of, until you start doing it and getting experience under your belt, whether or not it works for you, whether it doesn't work at all for you, you basically have to go through it. So I would say come up with at least some questions that you want them to think about that have absolutely nothing to do with the story. They're more along the lines of what you're concerned about missing. Even though you've checked the goddamn manuscript 42,000 fucking times, you spell the asshole's name once wrong, and you've looked at it 100,000 times and you can't find it because you've looked at it so much. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. So that's just, I know that's the kind of crap that I miss on occasion. James says, when designing a plot, one of my advisors will be an average 5-year-old child. Any flaws in my plan that he is able to spot will be corrected before implementation.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
That's pretty funny. I like it. Now you're thinking like an evil overlord. Tim says, I've been super excited about how well my novellas and shorts have been going over lately. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Excellent.
Oh, that reminds me of something else we should talk about during the show. Mm-hmm. Not to interrupt what we're currently talking about, but we should at least address the cancellation of Vela. Kindle.
Oh, yeah, we should. Mm-hmm. We should. Mm-hmm. Since you've already derailed us.
It's his birthday. He can derail us.
Yeah, I wasn't intending to derail what we're talking about. If I don't mention it something, though, when it comes to mind, then I forget about it by the time it's time to mention it again.
It's really funny because I'd forgotten completely that actually happened. That's how little it mattered.
I've only been predicting it for a year.
Only a year? Shit, dude. When
only
this thing first started, we were predicting that it would be here like this.
This will never work.
And yet you made how much money off of it?
I made, the shocking thing about that is I made an ass ton of money off of that in the bonuses and virtually nothing in the actual sales. And the fact that they were paying me bonuses over something that wasn't actually moving told me immediately, this is going to tank.
You don't have to pay it back, though, do you?
I do not.
Nope.
So there you go.
one of the great Amazon experiments that was an utter failure at launch. It just didn't quite realize it.
It should have failed before launch because they should have realized that people aren't going to pay for something they can get for free on Royal Road and the likes.
Yeah, if that's their competition, they're already screwed.
Yeah. I think my guess is they banked on people buying into it just from the Kindle, because it was Kindle Vella.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Didn't work out.
But also people who aren't aware of Royal Road or other venues to get their content. So
I suspect that as soon as they started putting it out, and people are like, "What's Kindle Vella?" and people will be like, "Oh, it's like Royal Road, only it costs you money." And they're like, "Oh, what's Royal Road?" Off they go.
Yep.
What's the other one? Gumdrop or?
Gumroad.
I don't remember the other one.
Is it Gumroad? Or am I confusing it with something else?
It's Royal Road and it's not Gumroad. I can't remember what the name of the other one is off the top of my
Are
head.
you thinking of Wattpad?
No,
Wattpad
that's one of them.
does that?
Kind of.
I think since Vella's inception, a lot of the subscription-based models for authors, there are a lot more out there, and they're easier to use. So there's like Patreon, there's Buy Me a Coffee, there's Substack, and there are additional ways for people to put their content out there in print serials than before, and they don't have to, pay the 800-pound gorilla to do it.
Tim says Gumroad is a payment broker, not a serial platform. Okay, fair enough. Royal Road, Gumroad, all these roads lead somewhere or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you have places like Webtoon and Tapas and a few others that have web novels, web navels, that the newer chapters you pay for in like credits and get older chapters for free. Mm-hmm. So like the latest 3 to 5 chapters are paid for, the rest are free. So you can wait for another chapter and then a new one is free. Mm-hmm. They also do that with their webcomics on those same platforms. Interesting. Huh. Web novels.
Scribble Hub is apparently a place. I did not know that.
Scribble Hub?
That's apparently a place.
Interesting.
It's kind of crazy.
And a place called Web Novel. So, there you go. I've never heard of that one either.
Web novels, web serials, same thing. Okay. All right, you're using them interchangeably. They are the same thing. I'm fine. This cat is still crashed, and he's still going to get stepped on. God damn it.
He says,
Novels
"No,
just
Daddy,
have-
don't step on me. You love me."
Novels just have better marketing power since the word novel hits different than serial. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Unless there are people looking for serialized content, which there are. They do exist.
Yeah.
They want episode by episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my podcast is so good.
Tune in next week for the exciting next episode.
Well, if you're not a cliffhanger and son of a bitch, you're doing it wrong. That's the way that works.
True.
Cliffhanger and bastard. If you're not a cliffhanger and bastard, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
Just the way it
Just
is.
for that, Terry, I've got to find this old radio, I guess, ode to radio serials.
Oh
that
no.
I did. Oh, I know I've pasted the link in here before, but Jay Smith wrote a kind of like an homage to the old radio plays called Hidden Harbor Mysteries.
Okay.
And it had there were a bunch of us who did it. Okay, there we go. Found the Libsyn link, so I'll post that. But my favorite part is that at the beginning of every episode there was an old-timey commercial that Dave Robeson would do, because he has that perfect. It was great. It was so good.
Moxie.
Yes, it was like Eagle brand cigarettes. Recommended by 4 out of 5 doctors.
Yeah, that's the
But
scary shit about the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s now, isn't it?
oh, there's plenty of scary shit. But I posted the link, the
Hmm.
Libsyn link in there. But I had one of the lead character roles in that. Lauren Harris was in it. Norm Sherman was in it. There were a bunch of folks in it. And it's good campy fun. There are 15 episodes and it's been complete for a while. But it's ridiculous. But it is one of my apps. And I know it's not my best work, but it's so much fun. Like, it's wild. But yeah, so anyway, serialized stuff.
Yeah, so where should the Kindle Vella refugees go?
I think if anyone has done stuff with Vela and they have stuck with it enough, they need to take the next step and just go to Substack or Patreon. So that they can work on if they've done stuff with Vela and it's been successful. Not necessarily for the reasons Cherry's citing, is like I got bonuses, but if you've got proof that people are going and reading stuff, contact them, say, look, I know this is going down. I am going to be, moving this content to Patreon. I'm going to be moving it to Substack. I'm going to be setting up a buy me a coffee so I can release those episodes. And just train your audience to do something a little bit different, but make it easy for them. Because people will not follow you if it, takes them too many tries. Because we're lazy people.
What day does Vella officially shut down?
I'd have to go dig in it, but it's going to be in the
February
next couple of months.
2025. February 2025. That's what I see.
Yeah, so that, from that, there's plenty of time to get content migrated and do all that. Okay.
Matt,
we do. It changes tomorrow, Matt.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, they've been already behind for 2 weeks.
Has it? Really?
Think so. That's
No,
what it was. I remember it being a while because the French people were pissed at us. Because we were another
I don't
hour.
know.
Because we were 5 or we were 6 instead of 7, or 8 instead of 6. It was something fucked up every time.
It's an hour difference because I used to have to. Yeah, last week. It was literally a week because when I was setting up webinars for PANA, because I would have to post the times in Eastern Pacific and either GMT or British Standard Time, depending upon the time of year. And I'd have to double check things. So,
Maddening.
Yeah.
Maddening.
Exceptionally.
It's all right. We get ours tonight. So we suddenly skip back an hour. So we wake up at 4 in the morning.
Yes. Our clocks change. Our pets' eating schedules will not.
Pretty much. Very true. So, that, like she just said, if you're a Kindle Vella folk who's got a lot of content up there, it's time to start moving people over. Maybe in your next chapter, if you're going to write one, if you intend to continue on with the serial, it's time to put something in to slip into your book at the end of that chapter, saying, "Hey, we're Kindle Vella is shutting down. We're moving, blah blah blah." Mm-hmm. So, I would start setting that up very, very quickly. Because you got a couple of months, I would not sit on it. That's just me. Now, Terry doesn't read reviews.
I try not to.
Okay.
Why do you not read reviews?
Because I find myself very sensitive to what's being said. Whether it's good or bad, I find myself being influenced by it. And if it's bad, then it makes me second guess what I'm doing. Even the good ones occasionally make me suggest other paths and make me second guess what I'm doing. And I don't like second guessing. I like writing the story that I want to write and then letting the pieces fall where they may.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
My mental health is much better without reading reviews.
What about you, V? Do you read reviews?
I used to. because part of like advertising for stuff as a narrator is you want to go grab those little reviews and be able to put them into emails or newsletters to casting directors and producers or to help advertise. But people don't, you have to be either really good or really awful or already have a following for people to comment on the narrator. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I'll check recent reviews for stuff just to see how well a book is doing. And if something pops up where a newly released book only has 3 stars, I'll go and check. And I mean, I found one where they couldn't finish the book, and their comment was, I don't know if it's the female character or the female narrator. And I thought, well, if the character annoyed you enough to leave, I tried to embody that character. So
both.
I knew it wasn't a technical issue. And the thing is, that particular book had a really, it wasn't a super niche audience, but it was a case if you're not, it was a very spicy romance book. And if you weren't into certain kinks that were part of that plot, then you'd be like, F this, I'm reading something else. And I totally respect that. For me, those sorts of things are often, it's a paycheck, it's a job. So if you don't like it because it's not your jam, that's okay. Because sometimes a poor review is just sometimes a 2 or 3 star review is someone saying, I got this, it's not what I thought it would be.
Right.
And so they just, they'll give it a poor rating based on false advertising.
Right. Because they don't, or because they're expecting something and you're not giving it to them.
Right. Which I get. I mean, people who leave reviews are often on the 2 outer edges of the bell curve. They either really enjoy it or they really hate it. And unless you are in the habit of always leaving a review, maybe you'll just hit the stars and move on. That's okay. I had one of my coaches early on had a really good recommendation for reviews. And it was, don't read your own reviews. Partner up with somebody who either maybe it's a virtual assistant that you have, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a colleague. If it's a colleague, reciprocate, but have them go check your reviews. Because they're not going to have that emotional tie that we do. Because I'm with Terry. If you hate something that I did, I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to do this again. But I've gotten much better about that as I've aged. But trade off reading reviews. And the thing is, then you have that emotional detachment, but you can see if there are trends. Mm-hmm. And if there's a trend of, this, maybe setting's not very strong, or I really want more description with characters, or I want less description with characters. So if that happens, you can go, maybe that's something I can, address. And if there's stuff in reviews that jive with what beta readers have said, then it's something to keep an eye on in your, just maybe. But I'm with Terry. You do stuff, you write for yourself, and you may be writing for a small audience who loves your work, but they love your work because of what you're doing. Why go and change it because this other person's like, oh my gosh, it sucked. I totally needed more dinosaurs. There were no dinosaurs in it. I need more dinosaurs.
Terry, why aren't you a power drill? I bought a power drill and I got a Terry instead.
Well, I've heard somebody, got a review on their book that complained that it didn't have 36 sausages in it.
Anyway.
Is that a qualifier? I mean...
Or a Kevin Smith reference.
It sounds like, you're judging right there,
It's 37.
How would you know about 37 now, V?
My name's Veronica. Hello.
Anyway.
I
don't read my reviews for lots of reasons, but most of it is because I can't handle vitriol, and usually there's vitriol in at least one of them about something. That's ridiculous. So I don't really read them. I just kind of look at how the stars are doing. And every once in a while, somebody like Brett will come along and take a look at the reviews and say, it's really interesting, kind of like he said for Evolution. He said the reviews have been really interesting because some people are like, there's not enough monster in this. This is too much character. And other people are like, oh, finally more character and less monster. You just basically, you can't win no matter what you do. And that was one of the things I was concerned about is the fact that there wasn't enough monster in it, which is not really true because the last third is packed with it. But I think they wanted stuff off the jump like Outbreak.
But in that case, in that case, someone like Brett is the perfect person that you want going and checking your reviews because it's someone who knows your work, knows the themes in your work, has read stuff, and is going to go, huh. And it's not just here's a summation of what's there, but here's a summation of what's there and how that relates to what I have read. Right. And he knows how to present it to you. So it's not, dude, you know what? 50% of those reviews said you didn't have enough monster. Maybe you need more monster.
Oh, you're going to get all the monster you want in Oceania and Extinction. Trust me. You're going to get a lot of monster. But I knew that was a potential issue with this book because it's a bridge book and it had to happen. Yeah. I got asked, why did you write this? It's like, I had to have this written, otherwise the other two books won't make any fucking sense. Yeah. That's why I wrote the book.
It was the third book in a 5-book, series, correct?
This is book 4 and 6.
Okay, so but it's that middle piece. It's your Empire Strikes Back. Not all the crazy stuff is going to happen. You have to do a lot of bridge building, and sometimes people don't like that. Others, like me, I love a good second act book. Holy crap, those are my favorite.
Well, we had to learn a lot of things about him too. But see, I knew that was an issue. I knew that was going to be a possible critique. And I'm okay with that if I get it. I understand it. And I completely accept it. That it didn't have exactly what they were looking for in that book. Maybe they won't come back for the next one. Maybe they will. We'll see. Terry, didn't you get like a 1-star review or 2-star review from some guy for years on one series?
Every single book, a 2-star review from the same guy. Until he stopped. He stopped leaving reviews for anybody. We all the people that he was leaving 2 stars for figured that he finally croaked.
Or he got banned, one of the two. But you're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. They're going to be trolls. Once you get to a level where you have trolls, you can pat yourself on the back and look, someone crawled out from under the bridge just for me. But it's like, can't they just crawl back under the bridge? Like, why? You're messing with my algorithm, dude.
Some people feel the need to go and respond to their reviews. I think that's a terrible mistake.
I don't do it.
I told my daughter, because we were going to practice this morning and then running errands, and I was telling her about the show and topics, and I told her the story about the FMC and someone not finishing the book, and I'd seen the reviews, and she stops and she goes, "You don't respond to those, do you?" I'm like, "No, of course not." "Oh no, because that is a road that you do not want to travel."
No, do not feed. No.
No, and this is from a 16-year-old who devours books. I mean, if she doesn't have one that she's reading on her phone and another that she's, got Dead Tree in her room and everything else. So, and she reviews and checks things based on reviews. But for her to go, "Oh, you're not responding to reviews, are you?" No, of course not. So if the 16-year-old knows better, you do too.
Man says, so a bridge novel is a specific term for being a cliffhanger and bastard of a book that solves nothing, right?
Not that solves nothing. They're usually
two
just
towers.
More character driven.
You were bashing my evolution, Matt. I know you are. How dare you? How fucking dare you? And you're absolutely right. It solves nothing. It creates other problems.
Yep. Okay. And Rick, I gotta know the people who leave a 1-star rating who don't bother to leave a review. If you didn't like it and leave a low rating, do me the courtesy of letting me know why. So I will, once again, we'll have another Clerks reference. Bunch of savages in this town. But people are going to be like that. People who
It's the
are
internet.
It's the internet. There's always going to be assholes on the internet. And there are always going to be people who... Oh, Antoine. Oh, child. Clerks, Kevin Smith, 1994.
With his girlfriend, 37.
Mm-hmm. And many other references. But you need to see it. It's... Yes. You'll understand far more about my sense of humor if you watch that.
Yes, my sweet summer child. He must do some research.
And Mallrats. And Chasing Amy.
Oh, God, Chasing Amy will break you.
Oh, I cry every time. Cry buckets every time. I can't. Just stupid boy tricks and then all the tears. And Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that cured my morning sickness during my pregnancy because I was laughing so hard. So that tells you straight up my level of what is wrong with you. But, yeah.
Customer. Cute cat. What's his name? Randall. Annoying customer.
Yes.
I love that movie. Love that movie. Love that movie.
Oh, so good. Anyway.
I want criticisms from people I trust, and I want comments from people I trust. I don't worry about reviews because the internet, I'll give you a perfect example. The Black has a 3.7 rating on Goodreads, but has a 4.2 rating on Amazon. What does that tell you? Goodreads is a shithole cesspool of fucktards. And it's not just me that has this wonderful experience. Go look at some other books and compare their Goodreads with their Amazon. Don't fucking go look at that shit. Yeah. Especially not if they're 2-starring and 3-starring you and everything else. It's probably best not to know what the problem is. Unless somebody is, it could just be complete and total dickheads.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. They're complete and total dickheads.
Yeah.
And it should, I mean, our core, viewers, listeners, community members should know. But obviously don't just go through and 1-star or 2-star books in your genre for other authors so it makes you look better, because that's what has tanked several authors' careers because you get found out. So if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. But if you can say something, leave stars and leave a review.
Don't be that guy that goes out there and tries to undermine your compatriots. It never turns out well.
No, it does not turn out well at all. Not at all. So that would be my experience. I do check my YouTube comments. I do check those because it's a small subset, and I ignore any comments they make about the writing itself. I'm looking for, or my voice for that matter, because I know my voice sucks. I'm looking more for, is there something wrong with the video? Is there something wrong with the sound? Did I miss something along those lines? And the majority of the people who are leaving comments, I think I've only gotten maybe one snide comment. And then obviously from somebody who missed an entire chapter, an entire episode of The Black, and therefore was very confused of Outbreak, actually. There's just no reason to do it. I look at the comments for video reasons. I look at it but the majority of the comments that I see there are all about, basically you cliffhanger and son of a bitch, I got to wait till next week, stuff like that. Or people are really enjoying Derelict Saga 3 years after it's been up.
Yeah.
So it's all cool that works the way it is. But other than that, I don't read reviews. The reason it takes so long to post reviews sometimes is because I require myself to put in the effort. Oh no. Tim says, I read a book created by AI that I was sent to review. I had to review it and was not kind. How bad was it, Tim? I want to know. I've always been interested to know exactly how bad some of this stuff is. feel the need to digest something, leave meaningful comment review. Yeah, sometimes I don't leave a review because I haven't made up my mind what I think. And then I forget about it. And it does not necessarily mean that it was a bad book. It doesn't necessarily mean it was a great book. It could be a great book, and I still don't know exactly what I think of it. Because sometimes you just need to process all that. I'm just really bad about remembering I need to go back and review it.
But sometimes a story is it takes a while. Like, you can finish it and you go, okay, that was all right. And then what is the word?
I don't know.
You have to sometimes you have to let it marinate and just kind of go, And then you're like, oh, this was actually really good. Because it kept you thinking, and you kept, being able to chew on ideas and themes and characters. And then sometimes it wasn't that great. So then that can be but it can be the difference between like dealing with 3 or a 4, or a 4 or 4.5.
Yeah.
If you don't get here's a question. If you see something that is like 5 stars all the time, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I get very suspicious. I get very suspicious of that.
It really depends on how many reviews it has total.
Yes.
Yeah, also true.
If it's got a few reviews and they're all 5 stars, I say it's either too soon for it to actually have been reviewed, or something's rigged. If it's, got a lot, it's not going to end up being 5 stars. Say you run across a book that's got 4.8 stars, that's got hundreds of reviews, then you're like, that's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it just kind of depends on what's going on, but I trust the Amazon system a lot more than I do Goodreads. Goodreads is just a fucking cesspit. Tim says about the AI book, perfectly circular paragraphs is how I describe it. Every single segment had a thesis statement but went nowhere.
Ew.
If there's no 4 or 3 stars after a few months, I don't trust the ones that are there. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. If I see one of my novels is only getting 3.5 on a consistent basis, then there's something fundamentally wrong. I probably have done something wrong in the marketing, the synopsis. Something is I think wrong at that point.
And I think that's often what, like a 3.5, something less than a 4, but it's getting consistently decent ratings, because if you have 3 or 4 3-star reviews and then a handful of 4 almost 5-star reviews, it's still going to average out to that less than 4, and it's a case that it hasn't gotten in front of the right people yet.
Yeah, it might be. And
yeah,
you won't really know until you start looking at the metrics, but once you get hundreds of reviews, you have a pretty good idea of where you stand as far as things go, just looking at the star level. But the first 100 reviews is really hit and miss, especially the first 15 or 20. You don't know what the hell you're going to get the first 15 or 20.
yeah.
Matt says, I think of things like I do food reviews on TripAdvisor. Ignore 1, ignore 5, read the bits in the middle. I like that.
That makes sense. Stupid camera, come on.
If the average is under 4 for me, I'd say it's a fluke or I messed up the book or the marketing. Yep. So at that point, I would start looking at the reviews just to see what is going on. I've loved a lot of my launches, and now I know what that looks like by now. I have flubbed launches too. It's a lot of fun. It's always great when everything you have planned goes to absolute shit.
This launch is gone in the crapper.
I stepped on this cat for like the 4th time. He's right behind me.
And yet he's still there.
And he's still there and still asleep, seemingly. He's lying. That reminds me, the patrons got to see Rogue last week. The rest of you did not.
Oh. See what you
He's
get by
such a
being a
cutie.
patron?
He's such a cutie. I want to pick him up, but then he'll start wanting to do stuff. It'll be bad for my desk. All right, so we killed this topic. What else do we got?
This topic is dead.
This what topic is dead? Yeah, this topic's pretty dead. The cat is enduring the kind of fun I got from my repeated bad lunches. I know that feeling exactly. All too well, as a matter of fact.
Guys, come on.
It's the next topic. It isn't that Dead as Disco. I like that, Dead as Disco.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a Gen Xer statement if ever was one.
Oh, yes.
Terry, were you a fan of disco?
I still like disco music.
Oh, boy.
Now, see, part of this is really when I grew up. Because while I was not an adult when disco hit, I was in high school when disco was still around in one form or another. So it was on the way out when I reached high school. But I still got immersed in it. And I still find that I like it. That's just the way it is.
Okay, I won't give you shit on that.
I mean, I think Earth, Wind, and Fire's September is one of the best songs of all time. I will stick to it. I remember listening to it on vinyl when I was like 3. It is... Love that song. Love it. Love it.
Just to put it out there again, I already put it in live, our general at one point, but if y'all have left NaNoWriMo and you still want the software or something akin to it, go look at writingmonth.org. I put the link in the in live. I'll put the link again in live. There we go. You might want to check it out. I haven't looked at it. I just know it's open source and it's by a bunch of authors who are really pissed off about what Nano's been doing. So they just said, we're done. The AI thing was the last fucking straw, and they basically went off and wrote their own thing. So I think they're planning on keeping it up. Go take a look at it. Let me know if it's complete trash or not. JR asks, do you guys stop publicly reviewing books now that you're a professional author to avoid drama and the like?
Kinda, sorta.
I don't know. If I listen to a book that I really like and the narrator just like knocked it out of the park, I still leave a review because I'm a fan of my colleagues' work. There's nothing wrong with that.
You definitely be worried about leaving bad reviews. Yeah,
it's very much if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. If it's like a formatting or a technical issue, and I know the person, I'll I'll message them, send them an email and say, hey, by the way, you might want to fix this. But unless I have a really good relationship with the person, I'm not going to give them unsolicited constructive criticism. That's reserved for my family members. Thank you very much. So, do you really want to leave the house like that? Are you sure?
If you're talking about why we don't do it on DRS, it's because those were our most boring episodes ever, and people didn't listen to them, so we don't do them.
Yeah.
We
listen to our listeners. Is that a thing? I think it may be.
It could be.
Listening to your listeners, yes, that is definitely a thing. 2 different contexts. Who's behind the Writing Month? I have no idea. I can go through Mastodon and find the person who lit it and send you their profile, but that's as much as I know. That's as much as I know. Leave all my reviews anonymously now. I think I leave anonymous reviews, but I'm not really sure. I think I do when I leave for books. If it's for something else, it's different. Who cares?
If it's an anonymous review, I pay no attention to it because it's worthless. If you're not willing to put your name behind it, then it's not worth leaving.
If it's somebody, chances are if it's somebody's book I know, I'm going to treat it differently than somebody's book I don't know. But typically, if I didn't like a book, I don't leave a review for it. Typically.
Do you think that's just you personally, or you because you're an author? Or are those just so intertwined you can't separate?
I guess I'm just tired of bad-mouthing art, and I'd rather focus on the things that work. I'm not a critic. I'm just an asshole with an opinion, like every other asshole out there who
Just
has an
an
opinion.
asshole with an opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So I tend to not do that, but I do sometimes. Depends on what it was and what it is and how bad it is. If the author is obviously not skilled enough to be writing this book, chances are I didn't finish it. Chances are I'm hesitant to rate it because I don't want to be anywhere near that hot mess. And I don't want to bash somebody for it. But sometimes you probably should. They likely stink, yes. I write detailed reviews, but I won't review books unless I like them. World is too dark already. Why not offer some light? I loved writing a review for one of the writers, or one of the authors that we met at 20 Books, because I really enjoyed the series, and I wrote the reviews, and I hope they expressed that I really enjoyed them. But I don't tend to write reviews for the major stuff. When I finish Scott Sigler's The Crypt, if I ever finish the goddamn thing, I'll write a review for that because it's an indie. As far as I'm concerned, small press and indie, I will write reviews for those motherfuckers all day long. I will not be writing one for Stephen fucking King.
Right.
He doesn't need me. He doesn't need me telling him how to write. He doesn't need me telling him how much I enjoyed the story. And
Hey, Stevie,
it doesn't
F you, pal.
Yeah, Stevie, go fuck yourself. Anyway.
Yeah, right. I apologize. I have a kid that I have to take pictures because she's heading to homecoming, so I will catch y'all at after dark. But
all right, well we're over.
We're actually time
anyway.
to cut out anyway.
So geez, so I still got to cut out, but let's see if Paul will get the outro going.
Oh no, this is going to go terribly wrong. If you have a question or comment about the show, you can go to deadrobotssociety.com and click on that contact link, or leave a comment on the YouTube episode, and we will get it and get back to you when we can. If you would like to find us everywhere else, you can find us on Facebook at the Dead Robot Society Writing Community, where we mingle all the madness. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS Podcast, where we are live every Saturday at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know when we're live. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS Podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS Podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows like the one is coming up in just about 7 minutes, I think. Something like that. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. Our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Nate Cosby, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. When did we turn into Bostonians? All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. It was enjoyable as always, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Till then, get your ass in the chair and write. Or stand and write, which is what I do. Bye.